Hello, I'm Rekha, and today I'm going to read The Ugly Duckling by Hans Christian Andersen. On a farm, long ago, Mama Duck sat on her eggs in her nest. Quack, quack. I wonder how long I must wait for my babies to hatch, she said. And she waited, and she waited. At last, the eggs began to hatch. One by one, little yellow ducklings stepped out of their shells. They shook their wings and said, quack, quack. "Look at all of you," said Mama Duck. "You're all so cute." "Quack, quack," they said. Mama Duck said, "Come and line up. We'll go down to the lake for your very first swim." She counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "Oh dear," she said, "I should have 6 ducklings." But one large egg was still in the nest. "Well," said Mama Duck, "it looks like that egg will need a little more time." So she went back to sit in her nest again and wait some more, while the other ducklings waited impatiently around her. The next day, the big egg started to hatch. Out came a baby boy bird. But if one may say so, it was an odd-looking thing. This bird was much bigger than the others. He was not yellow at all. He was dark grey from his head to his feet, and he walked with a funny waddle. One of the yellow ducklings pointed. "What is that? He cannot be one of us." "He's such an ugly duckling," said another. "How can you say such a thing?" said Mama Duck in a stern voice. "Your brother hatched from the very same nest as you did. Now line up. We'll go to the lake for your very first swim." But the other ducklings quacked, "Ugly, ugly, ugly." The ugly duckling didn't know why the other ducklings were yelling at him, and so he took the last spot in the line. Each yellow duck jumped in the river and swam behind Mama Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in and started to paddle too. "At least he can swim," Mama Duck said to herself. When they left the water and started to play, the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters too. They yelled, "Go away! We don't want to play with you. You are ugly, and you walk strangely too." Now when Mama Duck was close by, she wouldn't let them talk in this way. "Be kind," she would say. But unfortunately, she wasn't always close by. One day, when the ugly duckling tried to get back into the nest with the others, all of them started to quack, "Get out! Get out! Get out!" The ugly duckling hung his head down low. "I wish they would let me stay here," he said, "but maybe I should go." And so that night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence. He flew till he landed on the other side of the lake. But then the sky turned dark. Crack! A bolt of lightning. Then came a big storm, with heavy rains pouring down from the sky. In just moments, the ugly duckling was soaked through. And then a cold wind started to blow. "Oh," he said with both wings held close to his chest, "if only there was a place I could get dry." Just then he saw a tiny hut in the woods. He flew to the door. "Quack," said the ugly duckling. The door of the hut creaked open. "What is all this noise?" said an old woman, looking down. "Oh, look at that! It's a duck." She picked up the ugly duckling and took him inside her hut. "You can stay here and warm up," she said. While she was in the kitchen, a cat crept up to the ugly duckling. "Meow! Who do you think you are, coming in here and taking up room by the fire?" "The old woman brought me in," said the ugly duckling. "Well, I don't want you here. Get out! Get out!" The door was still a little bit open, so our poor ugly duckling slipped out of the door and back into the storm. "Nobody wants me," said the ugly duckling, with a tear in his eye. The storm ended, and the ugly duckling walked and walked until he found a new lake. Looking into the water, he saw the reflection of a flock of large white birds flying. He looked overhead and could not believe what he saw. There above him were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Their long white bodies and slender necks seemed to just glide through the sky. He watched until the very last bird had winged its way out of view. Then he found a quiet place and stayed at that lake all by himself, only coming out when no one was around to get some fish when he was hungry. Time passed. The leaves of the trees turned deep red and gold, and then the leaves fell to the ground. Winter came, setting a blanket of white snow all over. The cold wind and dark clouds made the ugly duckling feel even more sad. Now, when he wanted fish, the lake was very cold, and it was getting harder to swim. The lake was turning to ice, and one day it froze all around him, trapping him in the lake. "I'm so tired," he said. "I don't know how to get out." Just then, two giant hands swept him up. "You poor thing," said a farmer. He held the ugly duckling under his thick, warm wool jacket and took the bird to his home. Never was a fireplace more welcome. For the rest of the winter, the farmer cared for the ugly duckling. And then spring came. Tips of green covered the trees. Short, bright flowers popped up from the ground. "I have to get on with my work now that the winter is over, so I won't have time to look after you now. It's time for you to get out, back to the lake to swim again," said the farmer. "But don't worry, you'll be okay now that you've got stronger." He took the duckling back to the lake where he had found him, and he put him very carefully by the water. The young bird felt sad to be on his own again as he watched the farmer go, but as he flapped his wings he thought, "Why, the farmer was right. I do feel stronger." Suddenly he heard some splashing sounds behind him, and he turned around. A flock of the same beautiful birds that he had seen in the sky landed near him in the water. "Sorry," he said, "I'll go." And a big fat tear rolled down his cheek and fell into the lake. He saw in the water one of those beautiful white birds. Why was it so close to him? He jumped back, and the reflection jumped back too. "I don't understand," he said. He stretched his neck, and the reflection of the beautiful bird stretched its neck too. "Why are you going?" said one of the beautiful birds. "Stay here with us," said another. "We want to be your friends." Then the bird, who used to be the ugly duckling, realized what had happened. He was no longer an ugly grey bird that wobbled when it walked. He had grown up into a beautiful swan. One of the other swans said, "Please don't go. Come with us. We're going to fly, and you should go in front as you're the most beautiful of all of us." All the other swans flapped their wings and said, "Come with us, come with us." So our beautiful young swan flapped his wings, and he joined the others as they soared into the sky. And as he looked down, he saw the farmer, the cat, the old woman, the ducklings, and the mama duck watching in wonder as the swans flew by. And he laughed with his new friends, and he said, "Who's an ugly duckling now? Not me." Bye.